Hey people, do you also know this amazing feeling when you sit down on your instrument to play and everything is just effortless and fluid? You feel warm and awake from tip to toe. And wouldn't it be amazing to have a method with which we could reliably reach this state of mind? Well, I for one found this. I have found my perfect warm-up exercise or exercises with which I can pretty reliably find this state of mind, this mindset, and warm up perfectly and be prepared for whatever lies ahead. I already made a video about warm-ups. You can check it out here or put the link in the description as well, where I cover the basics, why we should warm up and how we should warm up, and that we shouldn't warm up just our body but also our mind and our spirit. You can go watch this first, or let me just give you the essence. A well-designed warm-up will always make your performance better, trust me. And always keep in mind to design your warm-up exercises in a way so they make your body warm and your mind awake and attentive. And I tried so many different warm-up exercises, and by now I found two that work perfect for me. Let me tell you about them. But one disclaimer, this is from the point of view of a drummer, of course, but I'm pretty sure that you're able to transfer this to other instruments. So please bear with me even if you're not a drummer. The first exercise I do always is a very complex coordination exercise, and it's very hard. Why would I start with a very hard exercise when I warm up? It does have several reasons. Once I was working with a book by Klaus Hessler, The Open-Handed Playing, I think it was volume 1, and one of the exercises started with the most difficult combination, and they grew increasingly easier. And I wondered why he would design an exercise like that. And then I did the exercise and I noticed two things. The first one is, it forced me to be very focused, and it also forced me to play very slowly so I was able to execute it. And it's always good to start slow and precise. And the second one is that as I grew more accustomed to this exercise and I was getting to the easier ones, I could increase the speed. And this was very motivating. It's a very good feeling that you feel like you're always getting ahead and always growing and getting better. So this is a great way to design exercises, to start with the most difficult one and then go to the more easy ones, but increase the speed so the overall level of difficulty stays relatively the same. So this is why I start with this very complex coordination exercise. It's not that hard to explain, but very hard to execute. It consists of different paradiddle variations. The paradiddle is a very simple shape. It's just A, B, A, B, A, B, B. And you can transfer this on every limb or on different note values. I just take right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. At first I played the paradiddle with my feet and the paradiddle with my hands on top, and I moved the paradiddle with my hands one note every bar or every second bar. So my feet would have to play this ostinato the whole time, and my hands would play the same shape but starting at a different position. I usually do these exercises on a pad. Sometimes I have also a pad for my double pedal, and it's actually easier to do it on a pad than on two different sound sources on the drum set, because that's just an additional factor which makes it hard and maybe it confuses your hearing. But for the sake of clarity, I will demonstrate it with the right foot on the bass drum, left foot on the hi-hat, right hand on the floor tom, and the left hand on the snare drum, so you can hear the different stickings. And it was very interesting for me to be not just able to execute it, but I wanted to bring it to a level at which I could also control it. So my attention could move from my feet to my hand, and I was able to see it from a bird's eye point of view, all my 4 limbs. So it's necessary to repeat this a lot of times because you will be able to execute this very soon, but this state of mind is the interesting thing to get to. But once I was able to do this, I switched it around and I played the ostinato with my hands, and I played the paradiddle variations, moving each bar or every second bar with my feet. And now I'm at a point where I make different combinations between my hands and feet. So in this example, I play the ongoing paradiddle with my right hand and right foot, and the paradiddle moving every bar with my left foot and my left hand. You can see it in my face, it's very difficult, very hard to do this. But for me personally, I want this. I want it to be very hard because it makes me awake and attentive. And this combination I have to do even slower. And this has another benefit. If you play very slow, you have to move slowly. And if you do a difficult polyrhythm or difficult coordination exercise, what can always help you is if you do very extreme movements, so you can anchor your body through the movement. You can play a more consistent tempo or rhythm if you focus on a very stable movement. And this way, I move the big muscles and get myself warm. And this is why I start with a difficult coordination exercise, because all my limbs are involved. I have to make big movements that get me warmed up. I have to be very focused, and I also make my mind and my body very awake because I focus so much on my concentration in all my 4 limbs. The next exercise I usually do was shown to me by Sebastian Lanza, the drummer of Obscura and Panzerballet. Here we take the whole note tree. We play all the subdivisions from 8th notes up to 9 tuplets and down again. But we don't just play this with single strokes, we take a second rhythm and superimpose this on the note values. So in this example, let's take again the paradiddle. So it's a shape of 8 notes, and we place this on all the subdivisions. So we create a polyrhythm. So we keep the paradiddle going the whole time, but we change the subdivision all the time. From 8th notes, 8th note triplets, 16th notes, quintuplets, 6-tuplets, septuplets, 32nd notes, 9 tuplets, and down again. And again, if you want to do this, I would recommend, of course, starting slowly, put in a metronome so you stay consistent, and don't stop when you are able to execute it. Then it's very interesting to get in the headspace of being able to control both, to actually hear both, to hear, for example, the quintuplets, and at the same time hear the group of 4 notes with the accent. Then you have this bird's eye view, and you can feel and see and hear both the subdivisions and the superimposed rhythm. And that's a very interesting state of mind. It's actually, for me, it's a kind of meditation, and it's so rewarding, such an amazing feeling to be able to control both. And if you think about it, that's the best possible preparation for a show, to open your mind to hear more than you usually hear. Then you are able to control your own playing and at the same time actively listen to what your other band members are playing. I like this exercise so much, and I like to play it as the second exercise, because now we're using smaller muscles after we have warmed up with the first exercise. Now I have the chance to put all the subdivisions back in place. I see this exercise as a kind of calibration. I calibrate myself because I have to play all the subdivisions, all the note values correctly to the metronome. And this gives me a great feeling of control. When I did this the first time and then went to stage, it was a great feeling because I felt in control of all the note values. I clearly felt the pulse, the beat of the song, while simultaneously being able to play all the subdivisions and have both in total control. And I mean, that sounds like a great feeling to have on stage, right? After this, I usually stretch a little bit. I warm up my voice as well, because I sing backing vocals. And then I spend some time with my band members, with my bandmates, because this, we should not forget, is also part of the warm-up. Don't just warm up yourself, but also warm up with your band members, so you are on the same page. I always notice that when I spend some quality time with my bandmates before the show, that we play together much better. So make this a part of your warm-up routine. This is something I always repeat. You can optimize every part of the performance, even some parts you didn't think about before, like warming up together with your bandmates. Check out all the different options. Try out so many things. It would be amazing to hear from you what other things you incorporate into your warm-up. Please write it in the comments. And I know we don't always have the luxury of having a quiet backstage area where we can warm up, but let's not find excuses. Let's try to make it possible to warm up. I did this myself. I went to toilets or went outside to warm up, just to find a quiet space, even just for a few minutes, because I owe it to everyone who bought a ticket to be in the best possible position mentally and physically when I go on stage. I don't want to make any compromises when it comes to that, when it comes to being able to perform the best I can. And it's just such an amazing feeling to be able to tap into your potential. I don't want to go on stage feeling like this. I want to go on stage feeling like this. And with my personal warm-up routine, I can achieve this pretty reliably. And you should check out what works for you, and then always try to do it. Always make it possible, at least just for a few minutes, because there is a great effect when you do it regularly. You anchor yourself. You don't just remember how to do the warm-up, you also remember how you felt after your warm-up. And the more you do this warm-up, the quicker you get into this mindset, and also your body gets into the best possible position, because you learn it. That's what learning is. The more you do something, the quicker you are able to execute it. That's just like with meditation, for example. One of the most important things in meditation is regularity, that you do it every day. And sometimes if I don't have enough time, I just meditate for a minute. I just sit down in my meditation pose, and because I do it every day, within just 1 minute, my body, my mind knows what to do and gets me into this state at least a little bit. So don't skip the warm-up, because after some time you will have the additional benefit of this anchoring. So that if you just have a few minutes to warm up, you can use this exercise as a trigger. And you get into this feeling and into this headspace a lot quicker. Maybe not perfectly, but much better if you just skipped the warm-up or if you do random things to warm up. And always keep in mind that your exercise should include something that makes you warm, attentive, aware, and awake. So challenge yourself a little bit. Maybe you noticed that my warm-up didn't include any specific musical exercises. It was just shapes and forms and rhythms. And that's actually on purpose, because I just want to take the smallest and most important building blocks. This way, my exercise is not specific and I can do it in every context. So I would do this warm-up when playing a jazz gig or when playing a heavy metal gig. Of course, I can adjust it a little bit. If I play a heavy metal gig, I would do it maybe faster with heavier sticks. I would do it louder. If I have a jazz gig, I would take the appropriate sticks and maybe pick a tempo that's suitable for the gig I'm about to play. So take the same exercise, but adjust it to the context you are in. And if I have enough time, sometimes I do some specific things, maybe just put on some music and play some grooves on the pad. And this gets me more excited for the show. So I hope this video gave you some insights, some tips. Please write in the comments below what you do to warm up. Maybe you have also some interesting and unusual tips to improve the warm-up. Would be amazing to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.